It's Christmas, so on this episode we're all things ice and snow. We'll be visiting the Arctic Circle to see polar bears, meeting nomadic reindeer herders in Siberia, and finding out what lives below Greenland's icy expanse. We'll then be heading south into Antarctica, or its adjacent islands, to take a look at the enormous and impressive penguin colonies that live there. We'll also, just for fun, visit Christmas Island, as that has its own wildlife extravaganza. This is Deep Blue Discovery. Coming up on this episode, the team of intrepid explorers that battled through the Arctic Circle's harshest conditions to Slackline under the Northern Lights. But first, polar bears have quite the fearsome reputation. But when you observe their cubs, you'll often see nothing but mischief and playfulness. These guys were filmed messing around off Russia's Wrangel Island in the Arctic. For good measure, here are two more cubs winding up their mum. They were filmed playfighting in Alaska. In the Canadian Arctic, explorers have erected a fence so people can see polar bears up close in a safe environment. At sunrise, as a mother and her cubs approach the photographers, the results are incredible. It doesn't happen often, but polar bears have been known to eat these guys. Reindeer are just about the most famous creature you'll find in the Arctic. They live in huge herds, like this one in Tonsvik, Norway, and one of the best ways to see them at scale is from the air. You can get more of an insight into the lives of reindeer by getting to know Russia's nomadic herdsmen in Siberia. They live traditional lives, getting most of what they need to live, from clothes to food, from the reindeer themselves. Even their tents, known as chooms, are essentially made from fur. Because these people live so far north, the sun often never fully rises, and although that can look beautiful, the conditions are harsh, to say the least. These people also rely on the deep blue for their food. For obvious reasons, the reindeer can't be slaughtered at scale, so traditional fishing techniques are essential to keep the men and women well fed. Their lives are difficult, but most people watching this will agree there's something awe-inspiring about this old-fashioned, free way of life. The Arctic landscape is awe-inspiring too. And beneath the ice caps in -2 degrees C, there's an alien world thriving with life. Thanks to brave divers like Alexander Benedict, we can see that alien world beneath Tasselak in Greenland. From transparent Arctic jellyfish to rare skeleton shrimp, the unique wildlife comes by thick and fast. According to Alexander, a white nudibranch stole the show. These creatures often steal the show too. Off Novaya Zemlya in the Arctic Ocean, you're watching a sea angel mating ritual. It's incredibly rare to capture something like this on camera, especially in such high quality. When Adam Rubin led an expedition into Husfjordsenya in Norway, the aim was simple: to Slackline in the Arctic Circle beneath the Northern Lights. It might well be the best way to experience this part of the world, and this is the full story.
Most projects that we are doing, we just want to set up a highline and then to walk it. But this time it's all about capturing something that has a quite low probability to appear, and that means we always need to be ready to wait for a moment which we simply don't know if it's gonna be there.
We were up at the mountainside for like 6-7 hours every day.
When the snow was just coming down so hard and it was so much snowstorm that the tents were covered.
People doesn't know how to react and trying to help each other.
It was really after many hours of waiting that we finally got this moment which we were actually waiting for.
The world flows at the movement of the slackline. I'm at its mercy and it is at mine. I play with it, I fly, I dance. Freedom.
Still to come on Deep Blue Discovery, this part of the world has actually designed crab bridges to make the crabs' lives easier. But first, as promised, we're heading south. This dedicated landscape artist has spent 15 years braving barbaric conditions, all in the name of painting penguins. In this video, we follow David McKeown from the Falkland Islands to Antarctica proper as he documents the ever-changing landscapes and penguin populations. Penguins are fascinating creatures, not least because some are monogamous, with couples sometimes staying together not just for the duration of mating season, but for life. Speaking of mating season, male attempts to impress female penguins can be quite amusing too. These king penguins were filmed competing for attention at Volunteer Point in the Falkland Islands. It's not uncommon for people to think penguins look a little clumsy, especially when they see them on land. This poor guy just can't stay upright. But these birds are kind of built for the sea, as this clip in Antarctica's Charcot Bay clearly shows. And there's this one in Paradise Bay too. Gentoo penguins can swim more than 20 miles per hour, making them very effective at catching fish and squid. Their speed and grace in the water is an impressive sight, whether viewed from above or below the surface. Now, we want to be a respectable wildlife channel, so it's with a heavy heart we're showing this. There's actually a good reason some penguins projectile their excrement. It means they don't have to leave their nest or eggs. Still, that's no consolation if you're the penguin in the firing line. Filmmaker Anthony Powell is no stranger to the unpredictable nature of working in Antarctica, but what happened when he left a load of GoPros around a penguin colony made him laugh. When he collected the cameras, he found that a number of them had been knocked over or even moved. Watching the footage back, revealed why. More GoPro footage now, a time-lapse of a 60,000 strong colony on South Georgia. The photographer had to reposition the camera on a number of occasions because penguins seem to like knocking over cameras. Finally, every year, usually around October or November, the male red crabs on Christmas Island in the Indian Ocean leave their homes and head towards the sea to mate. They're usually met by females on the coast, and there's a very good reason for this. Although the first rainfall of the year determines when the males start walking, this annual mating march is actually linked to the moon. The females produce eggs and nurture them in burrows for several days or weeks before releasing them into the sea. They do this before dawn, when high tide turns and the moon's in the last quarter of its phase. During this period, it's possible to see 100 crabs per square metre. To make the journey safer for the crabs, the authorities on Christmas Island have built special tunnels and bridges. In our opinion, a worthwhile expense. We hope you enjoyed this Christmas special of Deep Blue Discovery. We're going to play out today with more footage from Adam Rubin's slacklining expedition to the Arctic. Merry Christmas to all of our subscribers, regular viewers, and anyone who's stumbled across our videos on YouTube.